How are you? Greetings and welcome. This, of course, the Excellence in Broadcasting Network and the embattled host, Rush Limbaugh. Should have seen the mail today on CompuServe. Man, are the hate mail mongers out. Oh, the hate mail is pouring in over my comments yesterday about the 10% checkoff box on your tax return that Bush proposed in his acceptance speech. One guy was just really, really vicious. I'm getting a lot of hate mail on that, and the usual hate mail on how if I keep on this family values stuff, I'm going to lose all credibility. And that there are a couple of talk show hosts in Mississippi who are putting together big followings, and if I don't watch out, they're going to overtake me. And I went, oh no! And I called some people and I said, read this letter. You think it's true? You think it may be true? And we all got a big chuckle. No, the hate mail about this 10% checkoff box, and the guy ends it with a P.S. We are not stupid, as though everything I said yesterday was an insult to anybody's intelligence. He says, oh, look, while we're at it, pal, if we're going to put 10% of our taxes to reducing the debt, why don't we put 10% of our taxes to getting rid of fat people like you? And so forth. Whoa. See, I know what this guy is mad at. He says that, this is, why stop there? Why not a checkoff box? I don't want any of my taxes to go to defense. And, of course, there is an argument, some people have advanced that argument, and that is a bad idea. The reason why this is good, you people, I tell you, I'm alarmed at something. You people who are poo-pooing this don't understand it. I guess I'm going to have to step back a couple of grades in my explanation of this to bring you up to speed. The purpose of this is rhetorical. The purpose of this proposal is primarily to gain some political advantage, as well as make mention here of a decent substantive idea. There's a lot of hypocrisy out there. On the one hand, they're blaming Reagan and Bush for the deficits out there. All right, fine, you blame us. It's not our fault. It's the Democrats in Congress. They're the ones who are spending without any restraint whatsoever. Let's put some limits on them. You think term limits are the same thing. There is no other way to overturn the House of Representatives, it seems, except term limits. And that's why it's an idea that's taking hold. A lot of people are for it. Bill Clinton, a man of change, a man of centrism, a man who claims to be a moderate, he's opposed to term limits. That's one of the major changes in the political landscape. And the reason it's being proposed is because everybody's at their wits' end. You can't have it both ways. You can't sit there and say that it's Reagan and Bush and the people. It's your fault. Your taxes were cut. You got a tax cut in 1982 by Ronald Reagan. That's why we've got a deficit. That's why we've got economic melees. So, all right, fine. If it's our fault, let's just see to it that we cut some spending. And if the Congress won't do it, here's a way to do it. You can't take it out of Congress's hands. What do you mean? They're not getting it done. It's supposed to make you think along these lines. You people should lighten up, for crying out loud. The vitriol on my mail today, it blew me away. Speaking of hate and so forth, do you people remember the story that I told you that about a year ago, they began work on the outside of the EIB building here in New York to prepare for the onslaught of the largest convention of victims in the world, the Democratic National Convention. A bunch of victims showed up, arrogant victims. You ever seen an arrogant victim? A victim is bad enough. Somebody thinks that their whole life has been victimized, but then when they show up as an arrogant victim, that really rubs you the wrong way. So typical New York union construction workers are gathered outside to remodel the outside of the building and so forth. And in the process, they had it really tough to get in here. And every day there was a different route to get in, and you never knew what it was until you got here. And back then, every step I took, every step I had to take walking contributed to increased anger and frustration. So I show up one morning and I get out of my car at the usual spot, and there's no way to get in the building, and I just get frustrated. So there's this big guy who's really, not much smaller than I was at the time. And I walk up to the guy and I said, "How do you get in?" And I uttered some profanity. I said, "How do you get in a blank building?" You know, I'm a New Yorker now. I can talk that way to other New Yorkers. He said, it's around the corner, fatso. Oh, man. So I walked around the corner, and there wasn't a way in around the corner. So I walked back to this guy, and I asked him again, how the hell do you get it? So you couldn't get in that way, huh, fatso? Why don't you? So it happened to get. So I heard a similar story happened just yesterday. This is not involving me, but it's funny. Over at the Empire State Building, there was some construction guy over there doing some work outside the Empire State Building, and a couple of Japanese tourists showed up. Say, excuse me, can you tell me where the Empire State Building is? This construction worker said, you can find Pearl Harbor, huh? But you can't find the Empire State Building. Well, you're here, you little twerp. Somebody overheard that. Only here. Only here. Well, let's see. Woody Allen, if he gets married, what'll happen? Roman Polanski will be best man. The rice at the wedding that they throw will contain no MSG, and Woody will give the bride away to himself. A new Woody Allen update theme, ladies and gentlemen. This is, who is this, Sheb and the Woolies? Shep in the limelight.
I'd like to thank you for waiting patiently. Daddy's home. Daddy's home.
Woody is, by the way, starring in a new movie, ladies and gentlemen, Close Encounters with the third grade. 2 updates, price of one. Slick Willie next.
Can you blow your saxophone, Billy boy, Billy boy? Can you blow your saxophone, charming Billy? I can blow my saxophone, but sometimes I blow it wrong. But I'm a young man and I can't leave my mother. Can you ride a motor scooter, Billy boy, Billy boy? Can you ride a motor scooter, charming Billy? I can ride my motor scooter, 'cause it's a ringtail shooter. But I'm a young man and I can't leave my mama. Can you get yourself a date, Billy boy, Billy boy? Can you get yourself a date, charming Billy? I can get myself a date, but I always show up late. I'm a young man and I can't leave my mama.
Hi, friends. I have also been told that I was a little bit derisive, a little bit too hard on Slick Willie the other day when he announced that his qualifications to be commander-in-chief included the fact that he had bravely and courageously deployed the Arkansas National Guard 3 times, and I referred to him as Wilhelm von Clinton. They are saying that that was a little bit too derisive. After all, and this is true, not one Iraqi soldier made it west of Little Rock in the Gulf War. And we do need to make mention of that to give him proper credit for it. Along the same lines, you know, Slick Willie showed up yesterday and told the convention of the American Legion, some veterans, that they had a right to vote against him because he didn't serve in the military. He said, before you vote against me because of that, there are some others who never served in the military who were great presidents. Ronald Reagan, imagine that. Reagan's a great president now. And he also mentioned Abraham Lincoln. Never served in the military, but was a tremendous commander-in-chief, waged war against the South. Mr. Clinton, I knew Abraham Lincoln. I stayed in Abraham Lincoln's bedroom overnight in the White House. And Slick Willie, you are no Abraham Lincoln.
I can't really rock and roll. I can
Okay, some of the things coming up on the program today. Family values. There's a lot of hate mail about family values in my mailbox on CompuServe today. And you know, we taped a rehearsal of the television show yesterday afternoon, last evening. And I must tell you, look out, folks. One of the things that came up was this discussion of family values, one of the phone calls that we took, and it was from somebody who was misunderstood something I had said about it yesterday on this program, and so I want to expand upon it. George Will has a column today just really excoriating Bush and the Republicans for their use of values and so forth in their attempt to link Woody Allen and his current problems to the Democratic Party. Now, there's other columnists are weighing in, and I'll tell you, family values is like so much else out there now. It is become a major target of the dominant media. And I'll tell you, it's going to be tough to survive this onslaught. There are enough people coming forth making fun of it, ridiculing the whole concept. And so we're going to have to talk about this in some detail as the program unfolds today, which, of course, we will. Something else, the president had a press conference this morning to, among other things, announce the no-fly zone over Iraq. And I haven't had a chance to see it. I was busy doing a couple of other things that I could not escape doing. So I haven't seen it. Some have told me, it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on this if you have seen it. Some have told me that he looked very presidential and commanding and all that. And it brought to mind something I said way back in the beginning of the year that I thought gave him the only advantage he really had going into this campaign season, that advantage being that he is president. And in addition to being able to look presidential, he can actually affect things. He can actually do things. He can govern. He can go about making changes, implementing them as best he can, while candidates can do nothing but knock on the door and demand to be let in and tell people why things would be better on the other side of the door if they were let in. And I think for the most part, this has been an opportunity squandered by the president with his decision to wait till now to begin the campaign. And I've always thought that the campaign and the administration, the execution of policy, should be linked, but apparently they're not. Apparently the Bush administration has decided that governing and campaigning are two different things. Now, I'm going to have to wait and see this videotape of this press conference today to see if the presidential look and so forth is there. Somebody said, and again, this I haven't yet seen, but I will in due course. Somebody said that the press asked him if it just isn't a little unfair, this values assault on the Democrats that some in the Republican Party are making, and the ongoing idea that Democrats are not patriotic. Somebody seems to try to promulgate this idea every now and then that if you vote for Democrat, if you are a Democrat, you're somehow less patriotic than Republicans are. And Bush said, no, I agree with you totally. In fact, I was very happy to see that Governor Clinton has sponsored an anti-flag burning piece of legislation in his home state of Arkansas. I was very, very pleased to see that, and I think it should go and be stated as such. But he said, it's really strange to me, though. We just had a prominent Democrat compare us to Nazis, and where are you guys in the press asking them if that isn't a bit excessive, and if that isn't a bit extreme, and if that's not going a bit too far? Of course, we refer to New York Governor Mario Cuomo, who referred to the Republican Party as Nazi-like simply by virtue of discussing culture. And I think that's a good point to make. It does point up press partiality that no question exists here. And I think there's no question in people's minds that it's more pronounced and more profound in this election than in any they can remember, including Nixon. Nixon, I thought, was the most hated Republican in the world. Reagan, a close second. But now it appears that Bush assumes the mantle of champion most disliked Republican by the press. One thing before we go to the break. Nobody has ever challenged, well, I can't say nobody because there have been people who have, but it's not patriotism that people have questioned the Democrats on. It's judgment. I mean, there can be no doubt, there can be no argument that in foreign policy questions for the last 20 years, the Democrats have been on the wrong side of most every one of them. That's not arguable, folks. Not arguable at all. So it's not patriotism anybody questions, it's judgment. Now, something else I'm also doing, this family values assault that I mentioned, I am going to take some time, and because apparently people's memories are so short, I'm going to put together a list of things with the help of some mail that I got in my own fertile mind. I'm going to put together a list of some of the things that are being waged, some of the things that are being fought over in the so-called culture war, and why the values question is a good one to raise. Let me just mention this to you one more time. Let me take a break, and I'll mention to you when we come back. But it's not a one-way street, and it's not a fraudulent issue, and it's not even incorrect to say that presidents and administrations don't have anything to do with these kinds of issues. We'll use the Democrats' own words to prove that when we come back.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Having more fun than a human being should be allowed to have, Rush Limbaugh enjoying life. On the Excellence in Broadcasting Network, as I sit here ponderously in the Attila the Hun chair of the prestigious EIB Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. Want to be on the program? It's 800-282-2882. Have you noticed who's on the loose? Hillary. She's out there making speeches now, folks. Have you noticed this? No sooner was it stated that the Democrats have had to silence her and to keep her quiet than they've trotted her out, responding to virtually every claim or bit of criticism they are. And she has said something absolutely amazing. She said at Little Rock, Hillary Clinton suggested yesterday that welfare benefits be withheld. You realize how odd that is for a Democrat to suggest that welfare benefits be withheld? Let me finish the sentence. She suggested that welfare benefits be withheld from women who decline to get prenatal care as a last resort in encouraging such visits. Made the statement at a news conference announcing a program of financial incentives in Arkansas for pregnant women who visit doctors or health clinics monthly. Such medical care holds down the number of babies born with low weights or physical and mental problems. At some point, she said, I hope we'll be tying the continued receipt of benefits from the government to fulfilling the health care requirements for one's own family. That is the ultimate step. Man, oh man, the illusion continues here, folks. Now everybody's scratching their heads. Gee whiz, what is this? This is new. Oh, well, if presidential administrations have no impact on family values, and if family values are not a valid campaign issue, then why do AIDS activists continue to storm the countryside demanding that the president say the word AIDS? Demanding that the president care about AIDS? Why does it matter if there isn't some value in it? By the same token, when the riots of Los Angeles took place, how come they demanded that the president go out there and say and feel and do something if these values don't matter? Stop and think about it, folks, before they talk you out of this one. Quick break. Back with your calls in a minute. Your guiding light through times of trouble, confusion, murkiness, despair, tumult, chaos, and distortion by the press. I am Rush Limbaugh in New York on the EIB network. We're having so much fun here, folks. You know, there are, as I have explained to you countless times before, we have to fill time on this show, and I'm not even going to bother explaining why. We just have to do it sometimes during commercial breaks. And in order to break the monotony, sometimes I just jump in with incredible creativity and bravado. And here's an example of how.
We didn't want a professional announcer for this message because we're trying to save the earth. Don't get me wrong, having a professional announcer would be great.
What is this?
But that would have taken a big casting session.
On this
people
show?
Driving from all over to get here.
You're just not in
wasting
trouble.
a lot of gas and adding to the pollution.
Breathe it, breathe
And the
it.
way we see it, if our ad isn't kind to the earth, how can we ask you to be? Use cloth shopping bags. Buy recycled paper products.
Oh, man.
Switch to energy-saving light bulbs.
Ad is destroying our
maybe
machinery.
they're little steps, but
Hard
one
on the
little
earth.
step leads to another.
Stupid
And pretty
ad.
soon they're big steps.
Why are we playing
Look,
this?
I can't tug at your heartstrings or
Who
really
snuck
lay it on
this
thick
piece
like
of
a
junk
real
in on this
announcer.
show?
But I am taking the bus home.
Good.
So maybe that'll
Falls
help make
off
up
the
for
side
it.
of the road.
Call EarthShare. 1-800-488.
Breathe from the exhaust on that bus, pal, and see how you like it.
This message was brought to you by EarthShare and the Ad Council.
Oh, jeez. So I'm sitting here, folks, and I'm minding my own business, and they sneak a PSA like that into the show, on this show of all things, and so I'm not going to let them get away with that. So we simply respond to it. We had a little fun. Let's see. Phones, 800-282-2882, and to Detroit. This is Diane. Thanks for calling, and hello.
Hi, Russ.
Hi.
Boy, it's great. I talked to you once before, and our best man heard me in Atlanta. So you put people back in touch.
Great.
He really gave me a hard time, too, because I didn't mention that.
Wait a minute. Your best man.
Yeah, from our wedding. I'm married and have 2 children. So. Now,
You've been raped
assaulted
twice, have
yeah.
you? Yeah.
Yes. And anyways, he gave me a hard time because I didn't mention that they're both chiropractors. So I have to put in a plug, I guess. The reason I called was yesterday I went to see the president here in Detroit, which was really thrilling.
Mm-hmm.
And we managed to worm our way up to the very front, and I was standing probably 10 feet from him. It was really exciting. And they had a Motown band before he came on, and everybody was dancing and jumping up and down and just going crazy. And then when he came through, there was just this huge roar from the crowd. First, before he came, they had Air Force One flew over and did a flyby. I mean, that's really something to see. It's just magnificent.
You know, that really is. I saw.
Oh,
Can I tell you a little story?
Sure.
I promise I won't detract from the time of your call. We'll get back to whatever it is you wanted to talk about. I got to tell you this story. This is so funny. It's San Diego. It's the Super Bowl 1987. Or is it? Yeah, it's 87. It's the 86th season. This is the Redskins and the Denver Broncos. And this is the first Super Bowl I have been to in person. San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium is a U. It's kind of like a horseshoe. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting in the closed end of this stadium in the end zone. And the pregame ceremonies consisted of both teams being on the sideline, standing at attention, with an American flag being held by people that was the entire length and width of the football field.
Wow.
And Doc Severinsen, I think, was out there playing the national anthem. No, maybe it was Herb Alpert. It was Herb Alpert was there playing the national anthem. And they had announced that the Blue Angels, the Navy Blue Angels, are going to be doing a flyover during the pregame ceremonies during the anthem. So I'm standing and I'm looking, as I've never seen this, and I love jets. I love airplanes. And all of a sudden, I see them. There are 4 of them. The anthem's going, and it's colorful, it's patriotic, everybody's pumped. And you see the jets flying away from the stadium. So I immediately begin thinking, how are they going to time this? I mean, I'm sure they've done it. I'm just trying to figure out how have they done it. Because these jets obviously are supposed to arrive right over the stadium at the moment Herb Alpert ends the anthem. So you see them flying away from the stadium, and all of a sudden they make their turn and head back toward the stadium, and you can see them coming, and you hear the anthem closing, and the anticipation mounts in your in your mind as to, okay, are the Jets going to get here in time? Is the timing going to work? And the Jets were just a little late, so Herb Alpert held the last note. And as he held the last note, just a couple of seconds longer than normal, the Jets finally made it, and they're low. They're like 500 feet, and they just, whoom, they just smoked by with this thunderous roar. And everybody just went berserk with joy and patriotic feelings and cheering and everything. It's the loudest roar I've ever been part of. And I turned to the guy that was standing next to me as a Sacramento policeman, and I said, my God, have you ever seen anything? How can you how could anybody ever vote for a Democrat after seeing that? And the couple in front of me were from Washington, which means they're Democrats. And they turned around and gave me the biggest sneer. I had more fun with them the rest of the game, tweaking them, even though the Redskins ended up creaming the Broncos. But back then, even people were making jokes about Democrats being anti-military because they always have been. I don't like, in this campaign, everybody's going through the motions of trying to redefine themselves. And no, we never said that. No, we never were that. And it's absolutely true. The Democrats were always on the wrong side of U.S. military involvement and American foreign policy. With the last 20 years, it's not even arguable. And I had so much fun tweaking those people that day, but that flyover is something I wish I could see again.
It's 1240 on WHYN AM 560, and you can hear today's Rush Limbaugh show in its entirety tonight at 8 p.m. But now, Red Sox baseball on WHYN AM 560.
Williams Paint Stores. There's only one paint this good, and there's only one place you can get it. Ask Sherwin-Williams. By Sears Automotive Centers, because remember, who backs you better than Sears? And by True Value Hardware Stores and Home Centers.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Fenway Park on a hot, steamy Wednesday, where the Red Sox conclude this homestand against the Oakland Athletics. Bob, last night, certainly one of the most exciting wins of the year. Come from behind victory as the Red Sox not only had to overcome the Oakland A's, but overcome themselves in some poor defense.
They made a miraculous comeback, I think probably one of the best of the season, in that they had to do it against the best reliever in baseball. And to be able to do it against a guy like Dennis Eckersley, you feel like you have a really well-earned victory.
Hatcher had a good approach to him, too, in that he went right after him, hit the second pitch, a 1-0 pitch, got ahead on the count, and didn't try to do anything extraordinary with it. He just slapped it.
I was talking with Bill King, the Oakland broadcaster, and he says they have gotten Billy Hatcher.
You're going to go for all you're going to wear.
You can count on and company.
You got it.
Television has kept us laughing.
Bunch of questions, probably overloaded him. But I was so excited because right after as the president came back through, he stopped right in front of us and he really made an effort. I mean, this is the leader of the free world. I was just so impressed. He stopped and made a real effort to touch people and to shake hands, and he shook hands with me, and I pushed my children both up there, and he shook hands with both my kids. And then he leaned way over because my husband was behind us videotaping and made a special effort to shake his hand. We were just really overwhelmed.
Well, it sounds to me like the crowd there was real enthusiastic. I watched videotape of this on the news last night. Do you know that the press, the stuff I saw, what network did I watch? I didn't see every network, so I don't know if this happened everywhere, but I didn't see any applause. I mean, they just cut all the way they cut it and edited it. There was no applause. His speech yesterday. I could not. I really, because I knew there had to have been. I mean, here's a guy speaking about a subject he's intimately involved with there, and it had to be friends in the crowd, as we now know there were. So that's the kind of sly little editing that's going on. Also, the CBS New York Times poll, where did I put it? I don't even need it in front of me to know, but everybody's having so much fun reporting today that the bounce The bounce that the president got following the convention is over. It has evaporated. A New York Times CBS News poll shows that Clinton is 51%, Bush at 36%. It was 52-35 prior to the convention, so it's statistically exactly where it was. No bounce whatsoever. They're reporting this with great glee. I heard a Republican strategist, so I can't remember who, debunked the idea that this is going to be a close election. That it's going to be big one way or the other. That if people, and there is reason to believe, there's reason to give credence to this. So, the reason to consider it. I don't think it's totally true, but it's still interesting to ponder. Theory is that the election's always been about Bush, and it really is. This is a referendum on Bush. It always has been, always will be. And if the people, the voters, end up trusting Bush, if he is able to recapture his credibility with people, he's going to win in a landslide. It's not going to be close. If he's unable to, he's going to lose them. It isn't going to be close. It's going to be a landslide in one way or the other, not close. I wish I could remember the strategist. I may not have been told who it was, in fact. But that's one of the theories running around. Look, Diane, I'm glad you called. Thanks so much. We have a quick break. Back with more in a minute.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
This is WPOP Hartford.
Now, honestly, somewhere between the evening news and your favorite reruns, you've got some spare time, right? Well, if you'll spend some of that time with a National Dynamics language program, we'll have you speaking and understanding Spanish, French, Italian, German, or Japanese in 30 days. No books, no classes. Just our audio tapes in your home car or portable cassette player. Call this number today, 1-800-545-1985. That's 1-800-545-1985. Now, really, how many reruns can you watch?
If you trust garlic, you can trust Kwai. Why? Kwai concentrated garlic tablets are odor-free. All the goodness of garlic is concentrated into a tiny tablet that's easy to swallow. Kwai's special scientific coating takes it gently through your stomach to prevent the odor and also the repeating and burping you get from other garlic preparations. Garlic is a good idea, and Kwai gives you all the goodness of garlic without the problems. Kwai, Kwai, at your pharmacy.
There's just one place to go for all your spatula needs.
Spatula City!
Spatula City! A giant warehouse of spatulas for every occasion. Thousands to choose from in every shape, size, and color. And because we eliminate the middleman, we can sell all our spatulas factory direct to you. Where do you go when you want to buy name brand spatulas at a fraction of retail cost?
Spatula City! Spatula City!
And this weekend only, take advantage of our special liquidation sale. Buy 9 spatulas, get the 10th one for just 1 penny. Don't forget, they make great Christmas presents.
And what better way to say I love you than with the gift of a spatula?
Spatula City! Spatula City!
Hello, this is Cy Greenbloom, president of Spatula City. I like their spatulas so much, I bought the company.
Spatula City, 7 locations. We're in the yellow pages under Spatulas.
Spatula City, we sell spatulas, and that's all.
Believe it or not, this is how millions of us drive around town every day. Like we have holes in our pockets. It starts in our driveways. Using the less efficient car in the family costs America over 1 million gallons of gas a day. At the gas station, choosing higher octane fuels than we need and not keeping the right pressure in our tires, over 4 million gallons. And when we don't use public transportation or carpool, it's at least 3 million more gallons wasted every day. Let's take steps to cut down fuel waste. President Bush hopes you'll do your part. Drive smart. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Advertising Council.
Greetings, my friends. It's Rush Limbaugh, half my brain tied behind my back, just to make it fair. To Wichita, Kansas, this is Joe. Hello, and welcome to the program, sir.
Rush, Dill's from Wichita.
Thank you very much.
From almost a charter listener.
Thank
you. A few months after you started.
Thank you.
Comment, did you see Clinton's town hall last night?
In fact, I knew it was on, and I was sitting there with the remote control being typically mailed, changing channels every 5 seconds. I didn't see enough of it to know how he did, what he said, or any of that. So, did you watch it all?
We watched most of it.
What do you think?
My wife and I sat watching it, just kind of shaking our heads. Of course, government program after government program was about all he had to say. But a few things that he said seemed pretty hypocritical as far as I was concerned anyways. One woman from one of the cities asked why that he had abandoned the Jesse Jackson wing of the Democratic Party, why he was abandoning blacks as far as she saw it. And his comment was that there is no evidence that he doesn't represent those segments of the party. And it seemed hypocritical to me because he's been trying to call himself centrist and moderate when now he's trying to realign himself with the liberal wing with comments like that.
Well, you know what's happened? This is something I think it would be wise for all of us to keep in mind. Slick Willie first started out with the appeal to the moderate centrist wing of the party. Then Perot entered the scene. And when it looked like it was going to be a three-way race, what did Bill Clinton do? What was the first thing Clinton did when the Perot surge it became obvious that it was a serious group of people that were going to support Perot? What did he do?
Well, he moved to the right.
No, just the exact opposite. He went back to the traditional liberal base of the Democratic Party. The first thing he did was go to California and assemble as many of the gay activist community he could and promise them everything. He said, you're going to be in my administration, you're going to be in the military, you're going to be here, we're going to cure AIDS, I'm going to do... That's the first thing he did, and everybody said then, holy smokes, look at this. Here is Slick Willie heading to the left. I thought this guy was a moderate. Now, this is before the convention. Before the convention. We're talking now in March when he did this. And that's when I had a lot of fun on this show saying, see, there he goes. I'm telling you, folks, this whole thing is smoke. Here he is just trying to put this big illusion forward that he's a moderate centrist, and here he is. And it was because it was a three-way race then. In a three-way race, the liberals have to stay to themselves because who knows where the Perot people are going to come from, so you shore up your base. Well, now Perot's out. So Slick Willie's slicked us again. Now he has gone to he's abandoning this. Why do you think he did what he did with Sister Souljah? That's because he was trying to move back to the center again and trying to convince people that what he was doing during the height of the Perot surge was just... in fact, the bottom line of Bill Clinton, my friends, and this is why he's slick, he is trying to be on every side of every issue. When he spoke to these guys at the American Legion, he said, it's your right to vote against me because I skipped Vietnam service. But he said, please look to the future. And he totally redid his story about the ROTC and how he stayed out of the draft. He finally admitted he did something illegal. He's finally admitted there are new truths that come out about this guy all the time, and they're not being trumpeted by the press. This one I found, and I'm looking for it now. I've got it cut out here because it's buried in in one of the New York newspapers today, and I'm gonna find it for you because he admits that he did do something that wasn't legal or was not allowable to avoid service in Vietnam. And he says to these guys, it wasn't because I oppose the military, it wasn't because I'm not patriotic, it's because I didn't believe in our policy in Vietnam. And so, you know, he's this, I'm telling you, the term slick, whoever coined it, and it was people in Arkansas who did, have nailed it. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I mention one other thing that seemed a little hypocritical? It's maybe a little bit minor of a point, but he said that he also, as far as his cabinet is concerned, he plans to fill his cabinet based on the population of this country, which seemed to me type of a quota type of deal. And his next comment was that he is staunchly against quotas of any kind, yet he wants to fill his cabinet positions based on certain races or genders.
Sure. Look, this guy is pandering once again. He's trying to appeal to whoever it is out there that thinks that's equality, who thinks that's fair. This is what's wrong, folks. I'm telling you right now. To hell with equality. A relentless pursuit of equality is just a waste of time. We got to pursue excellence. He should tell us he's going to put the best people in these positions. Not that they're going to be diverse and equally spread out by some category he seeks to define. That should tell you who's running his show, who's pulling his chain. That's not a moderate centrist view. To sit there and say, I'm going to have X percentage here, I'm going to break it down by percentage of the population, you're exactly right. That's quotas. And I'm telling you that pursue excellence. Get the best people you can. He's the guy that they have always said, his pals have always said that Bush and the Republicans have a litmus test on the court. And obviously they don't, or David Souter wouldn't be there. And so it's Slick Willie who says he's going to have one. He's not going to appoint anybody to the court who isn't pro-choice. I mean, they accuse people of one thing and say that it's a bad thing to be, and then they go out and be it themselves. It's okay when they are. Back in a moment.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
This is News Radio 14 WPOP.
This is Dr. Ronald Hoffman with good news for women over 40. If you're menopausal or close to it and concerned about hormone therapy, you should know about Rejuvex. Rejuvex is an all-natural vitamin and mineral formula that can help ease the physical discomfort and emotional distress of menopause. Rejuvex, during and after menopause, relief and health protection without side effects.
Rejuvex at CVS, Peoples, Rite Aid, Osco, Save-On, GNC, Revco, and Eckerd. For a free brochure, call 800-446-7262.
Imagine a news show where this happened.
Out off the wires, a major heat wave, another tax hike, and my co-anchor's on-air allergy attack. Bob, how are you?
Better. I took Benadryl. About those taxes.
Benadryl works fast.
That's right. State officials
You
say...
were sneezing your head off.
Yeah,
Just
and my nose was running, all right? But the Benadryl worked.
When allergies come on this strong, Benadryl comes on stronger.
Now may I finish?
Unless you'd like to sneeze for us again.
No, thank you.
Benadryl, recommended by more doctors, trusted by people with allergies. Use as directed.
This is what it's like to have lung disease. Lung diseases are the #3 cause of death in the United States. They are the #3 cause of death for men and women over 65. Respiratory diseases are also the #1 cause of death for babies under 1. And the death rate from lung diseases like asthma, emphysema, pneumonia, and lung cancer is growing faster than any of the other 10 leading killers. We're the American Lung Association. We've been the #1 cause of hope for people with lung disease for over 85 years. But we haven't done it alone. You helped with your generous support, and now we need your help more than ever. It's a matter of life and breath. The American Lung Association.
Welcome to First National Bank. How may I help you?
We'd like to return these U.S. savings bonds.
Excuse me?
We'd like to return these savings bonds. They're defective.
I don't think I follow.
Well, now, Ed planted them, just like you said.
Planted them? Oh, I'm sure I didn't tell you to plant them.
You did. You said our savings bonds were guaranteed to grow.
Well, yes. When held 5 years or more, savings bonds offer a guaranteed minimum return. So your savings bonds are guaranteed to grow, but
I planted them myself, and they just sat there limp. You think I overwatered them?
No. You're not supposed to water savings bonds.
So that's it. I thought it was because I didn't talk to him enough.
Okay, folks, listen. See, savings bonds don't grow in size. They grow in value. You know, you buy a savings bond at half its face value. Then as you earn interest, the value of the savings bond grows for up to 30 years.
Oh, yeah. Savings bonds are guaranteed to grow in value.
Right.
I get it.
I guess we can cancel that order for fertilizer.
To find out how much your U.S. savings bonds can grow in value, call 1-800-4-US-BOND.
think we squeeze one more call in. Let's see. Let's try Steve in Grand Rapids. Hi, welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program.
Dittos from an unemployed Republican below the poverty level, Rush.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Well, good. Despite all that?
Despite all that. Haven't got any money this month, but, hey, I'm still in an apartment. Comment for you. The Democrats want a multicultural society where diverse and conflicting cultures exist side by side.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they demand that President Bush outline his plan for providing a sense of unity and common purpose. How can this coexist?
What do you mean I'm not aware of their... In regard to what? They say they demand he outline his...
They want a vision for the common direction. They want unity. They don't... I'm reading different comments from different Democrats that are saying they don't want... that the country is fractured. There's too many splinters.
I see. I see what you're talking about. Yeah. A good point. We'll expand on that in our next hour because that does have some credence. I'm glad you called. Best of luck to you. Back in a moment.